Okay, and it's locked in now. First and foremost, thanks everybody for subscribing. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. As you see in the description, pretty much today we'll be assembling my 3-piece wheels. I have Work VSXXs. They're 18-inch wheels. So the lip and the barrel and the face is 18-inch. It's not a step setup at all. Not gonna go into detail with that. When I do a step setup, I will go and make the video then. These are pretty much what you call reverse barrels. A step lip setup will have the lip come out and then it'll upsize. So this is pretty much just a reverse lip and this is a reverse barrel. So pretty much today I'll just be running down a couple things that I do when I assemble 3-piece wheels. This is, I don't know how many sets I put together so far, but I'm pretty decent with it, so I feel as though I can share a little bit of my knowledge with you guys as I always do in my videos, and just pretty much help you guys out along the way with your builds when it comes to the car or the wheels. Will got your back. You get it? Because it's like Will Grizzly. You get it? You don't get it? It's alright. We're going to still do it. We're just going to leave that in there. We're just going to leave that in there. We're going to go ahead, knock this out, and see how this thing goes. Shouldn't leak it off. Shouldn't leak it off. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started. Couple things you're going to need to complete this task is a drill, a wire wheel, wax and tar remover, and your sealant, and a ratchet and everything for the tighten up the hardware. I'm gonna show you the sealant real quick that I use. It's multiple sealants that you can use, but this is one that works for me. 732 multi-purpose sealant, and it works perfect and it's clear, so you don't get all that crazy looking seal going. These are M7 work hard. These are the original OEM work hardware. It says work on the boats, but these are actually M7s. The catch with these 3-piece wheels is, depending on which wheel you're putting together, your hardware may be a different size. Usually I came to find out whether it's M7, M8s, or M6s, the actual hardware for the back as far as the nut goes, this is usually a 10mm. It may be different with yours, like I said, but mine's is a 10mm, and for the actual socket is 5/16. So as you see, it's really not a bunch of things that you need to really do this as far as assembling your wheels. The only thing that comes into play with as far as more tools is when you're actually separating the lips from the barrels. We're not going to do that today. We're pretty much just assembling. So we can go ahead and get this video started. I'll give you a couple tips and tricks as we go along, and if you do what I do in this video as far as following the directions, your 3-piece wheels shouldn't leak at all. So let's get to it, guys. So first things first, you want to make sure that all of your surfaces on your wheels are actually clean, as far as no old sealant, no dust, no dirt, no debris. My lip is actually clean, but as you see on the barrel, my barrel has a lot of residue right here from it being previously assembled, and it still has some of the old sealant right here, and this is where the wire wheel comes into play. The wire will knock all this off relatively easy. Just a little bit of pressure and just let the wire wheel do its job, and it'll just knock all this stuff off, and we could just knock the seal off in a couple of minutes. Alright guys, so you see surface is all the way clean now. And this is where the wax and tar removal come into play. Bam, you get that at AutoZone, or probably could get it off Amazon too. So what you do, just a little bit on there. This is a used barrel. This is a used barrel from the actual works. Actually, this is a 6-inch barrel. The lip that was on here, I think, was like a 2-inch lip or something. So we pretty much just re-lipping these wheels. So if you go and buy a brand new barrel, it's not gonna have sealant or dirt or anything, you know, because it'll be brand new. So after you wipe it off, you go ahead, drop your lip on it, like so. And what you want to do with this, there's a little bit of sealant here. Gotta knock that off. So what you want to do with this is line the valve stem up with the actual valve stem hole on the lip. On the barrel. Okay. Alright, that's perfect. So I want to show you this. Okay. So if you run into this problem, you can easily set it up just like this. There's nothing wrong with doing them this way. But the only problem you're going to run into is you can't stick a valve stem, the 90-degree valve stem in here. You had to have a regular straight out valve stem, like, you know, on the OEM wheels or whatnot. That's the only thing. If you do it this way, you may be able to just like shave this down and make a spot for the valve stem to come through. But I don't want to mess with the integrity of the lip or the wheel, period. So I just leave it like this. Just throw a regular rubber valve stem in it anyway, because that's the valve stems I usually run on my car, because I tend to have bad luck with the actual metal valve stems. So a lot of times I would just run regular rubber valve stems. And that's the best part about that, is if you seal them properly, you don't got to worry about putting air in it. You might run into an issue if you do it this way with putting air in it while the wheel is on your car. You might have to slide up under the car or something, jack the car up and get to the valve stem. It all depends on the style of wheel that you're actually using. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna clean this debris up, this little bit of seal up, and we can go ahead and drop the face in the wheel and start putting this hardware in it. Okay, and it's locked in now. So what you want to do is try to, line the hose up as you put it in, and then push down a little firmly, and you should hear that click where it actually locks into place. So we go ahead, throw the hardware in here one at a time, and start to tighten this thing down. All right, guys, as you see, we have all the hardware, the nuts and bolts, pretty much just fitted onto the wheel. They're not actually tight at all. I just hand tighten them. Now I'm about to go ahead and tighten them with my actual ratchet, electrical ratchet, and 10 millimeter wrench. If you do, however, use the ratchet on these bolts, you do run the risk of actually stripping the bolts or the nuts, or damaging your actual face or your lip of your wheel. So my advice, if you do it this way, use a long enough extension and take your time. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much snug them on here, and then I'm going to go over all the bolts with the actual torque wrench, so that way I torque them to spec, and the wheel actually holds air for us once we throw the seal on. We don't have any leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and get to this, get to snugging these bolts down, and get back to you guys in a sec. Alright, guys, so now we have all the bolts pretty much snug down to the wheel. So now we could go ahead and pretty much grab our torque wrench. When it comes to torquing these bolts down, if you don't know the specific torque spec for the actual wheel that you're putting together, you can, however, call or email VR or 3-piece wheels. I usually deal with VR wheels just because I've just been dealing with VR wheels from day one since I've been doing this 3-piece thing. I have no real special preference. That's literally just the only preference, because I always had good experiences. But if you need to actually find, like I said, if you actually need to find the actual torque spec for your wheel, you can email them. They get back pretty quick, and they don't really mind answering questions for you. So what we're going to do with my torque spec for these wheels, I usually do between 18 and 22 foot-pounds. But I usually have it bumped up to at least 22 with the extension on it. And like I said, this socket is a 5/16 for these M7 bolts. So we could go ahead and torque it down. And I usually just torque it down in circles. There's no real special, you know, star pattern or anything like that to torque them down. Because it's already snug and the face is set flush down into the lip and the barrel. So with that being said, we could go ahead, torque this down, and we could go ahead and get the sealing these joints up so we could get the tires put on in a day or two. A nice tip with this is, what you want to do, you want to get a little bit to come out, and you don't want to apply it and actually pump on this. You don't want to apply it while you're applying it to actually pump. You want to do steady squeezes. As soon as you get your squeeze out, you know, once you get your squeeze all the way out, stop. Let it come out, and then slowly squeeze and go at the same time. Because what you're doing, if you're pumping it, you're just going to be missing valuable spots. Even though we still are going to smear the seal down, it's just the way I do my wheels. Like OCD with it, because I don't want any leaks. And just take your time with it, man. Like, this is not a rush job, because you got one time to do this right and one time to do it wrong. So why not take your time and do it right? So now I'm almost at the end of my squeeze, and I'll stop and gradually squeeze. And what I'm doing, I'm actually trying to push this first layer of sealant in between this little void. It's not much of a void, but it is a little void there. It's not much of a void, but what you want to do is try to get your sealant down in here. So the first layer be down in here, and then the second layer will be on top. And like I said, it always holds since I've been doing it this way, so I just keep doing it this way. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing sealed up, and we can see how the sealant actually looks from here. Alright guys, from here, once you put your seal all the way completely around, you really want to do this with a shop towel, but I ran out of shop towels, and I pretty much don't feel like running up to the auto parts store to get it right now, so I'm just going to use this rubber glove. And what you're going to do now is you're going to smear the seal, but you want to push it in at the same time. So just apply moderate pressure, and what you're going to do is just push the seal in to that void I was talking about. Alright guys, and there you have it. The wheel is actually fully assembled. I am, however, going to put another layer of sealant on here tomorrow, pretty much 24 hours from now. But if you get this far and you feel as though that seal will actually hold, which it will, you can just let this sit for 24 hours and then get your tire mounted. But me being me, I'm just so used to putting 2 layers of sealant on there. I never had a problem with doing 2 layers of sealant, so I'm going to just let my actual wheel sit for 24 hours, add an extra layer of sealant, and then get my tire mounted 24 hours after I put the second coat of sealant on. And like I said, it usually holds. I never had a problem since I've been doing it this way. So we should be good to go from here. I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Hopefully this actually helps somebody as far as putting that 3-piece wheels together, and you can actually use the steps in reverse to disassemble your 3-piece wheels. Like I said, just make sure the surfaces are clean. Get rid of your old sealer that was actually on your lip and barrel if you are reusing your barrel or your lip on your new setup, and you should be good to go. So that should actually work from here on out. So as always, thanks for checking out the station. Thanks everybody for subscribing, checking out the videos, and I'll catch up with you guys next time.